I want to ask you, Jonathan Lemire, because we're focusing right now
Good luck,
on Iran for very good reason. Americans are not. They're against it. Favorable numbers. But I will tell you, I went to LaGuardia yesterday. 3-hour wait line.
Notice he's back.
Flights canceled.
He got kicked off his plane.
It was absolute chaos. Flights being canceled nonstop. And I just sat there thinking, well, a couple things. First of all, we're all talking about Iran. But these people that are waiting 3 hours in line in all these airports in Washington, it's 4 hours in line.
That's Houston.
That's Houston, 4-hour wait lines. They're not thinking about Iran. They're thinking about the fact that they work. And they've got to fly to and from their homes and commute. There's so many people there that are commuting every day.
I have a friend at Newark. It's a mess. It's a complete mess, and TSA clear is a mess as well. Yeah, regular TSA, 3 hours.
3-hour wait lines. And I would just say to Republicans, this is on you. If you think that you can, blame Democrats, everybody's saying...
You're in charge.
You're in charge of Washington. And a comment I heard, I can't say it completely. I will just say that I heard somebody yell in line yesterday, they want to run Iran, and they can't even run their own effing airports. And that, really I sat there thinking, oh, my gosh, that is what everybody in this 3-hour line at LaGuardia is. And what happens is they wait in line, they get on the planes, and then the pilots say, flights canceled. I checked 3-4 Delta flights canceled yesterday out of LaGuardia. It's happening at airports all over the place. It's chaos. And so it's weird. Sometimes we don't, sometimes we need to cover Iran. But I'm just telling you, people who vote, they're looking at gas prices, and they're looking at the airport, and they're not too dumb to understand on social media that Republicans, once again, had a chance to vote for TSA funding, and they voted it down. Let me say that again. Republicans now, 10 times, all they had to do is say yes, and TSA funding would have passed. They won't do it.
Yeah, the people are angry. We're seeing right now, it's people who are using air commute for work. It is the spring sports season for so many parents with kids have tournaments. Yeah. Spring break is on the horizon.
Easter's coming up.
Easter and Passover are next week.
Do you know what I'm trying to figure out? How to get all my family together.
It's not going to be possible.
And because I've got adult children, as everybody with adult children know, we've been planning this like a Phil Marshall Montgomery for months now. People getting off of work, figuring out how to get the babies, all of that. And I had to call him yesterday, and I was in the airport, and I don't know if we're going to be able to get together for Easter because all these flights are getting canceled and it's chaos. I didn't say because Republicans keep refusing to pay TSA, but Republicans keep refusing to pay TSA.
It's complicated. It's expensive. People are furious, and rightly so. Airports across the country, 3-4 hours. There was a photo in Houston yesterday, former Attorney General Bill Barr standing in line for 3 hours waiting to get in line. It's affecting everybody, and I think this is the last week or so. This has become the dominant story in the country line, even more than the war. And I think in the last few days, it's really broken through that Republicans have had chances to put the funding through, and they haven't. And even this week, the Senate, Republicans, John Thune said, let's get this done. And it's President Trump who said no.
Do you know how many times President Trump has flown, gone into an airport and flown a commercial flight in the last 30 years?
Zero.
Never. Do you know Howard Lutnick? Do you know how many times Howard Lutnick has flown? Do you know how many times the billionaires that are in the cabinet
are people
that would be talking to Donald Trump? Do you know how many times they've actually had to get in an airport and wait 3 hours in line?
How about pump gas? How about pump gas for their own car?
Go to a grocery store.
Go to a commercial flight and fly somewhere. I'm sorry. I think it's safe to say our commander-in-chief has probably never done that.
This is a nightmare. I mean, this is a nightmare for mainly for TSA agents. And I will say I've flown Richard 3-4 times over the past 3 or 4 days, 4 or 5 days. And that every TSA agent, and I just want to say this about the men and women that are there working,
safe
when some of their coworkers are not. Every one of them, I say, thank you so much. I'm so grateful you're here. Thank you. I know this is hard. I'm so sorry. And every one of them are so polite. every one of them say, thank you so much. Just like, thank you, we appreciate it. They'd love to say, thank you, we appreciate it now, get us paid. But they've been so professional and so, but I'm telling you, there were thousands of people in line, and I saw 4 TSA agents. And in a time of increased terror threats, with Iran saying they're going to strike out against American targets globally, with the FBI a couple of months ago firing the people who knew the most about terror threats from Iran, for whatever stupid reason that was, we are letting down our defenses at a time we should have double TSA agents, because Iran has been warning us for a decade that if we ever attack them, they would strike out against us domestically. They would start blowing things up in America. And what are Republicans doing right now? They're voting no to paying TSA agents. They're voting no to pay TSA agents. Let me say it 10 times. Democrats keep bringing it to the bill to get rid of this problem. And Republicans keep making this problem worse at the very time we need more TSA agents and not less.
So if I may,
I was going to Richard.
I know. Okay. Before you speak, Richard, I have a friend at Newark Airport. 3 TSA agents for an entire terminal, and people are furious. And that's repeating across 3.
Yeah, I flew in and out of Houston this week, which was an experience.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah. Look, the TSA agents were incredibly gracious. Actually, I was
so nice.
I was the clutch child. I lost an AirPod, and my suitcase open. I had to open it up to get some stuff out, the electronics. I forgot to close it. It all dumped on the floor. Several TSA.
Would you ever travel with this guy? I would never.
Let me finish the story.
See Richard in a line.
You're a mess.
Oh my God.
Anyhow,
I'm not with them.
They were incredibly gracious. They were incredibly helpful. But one serious point about Iran, their entire strategy is what? It's to extend the battlefield. They can't beat us on the narrow battlefield. So they attack the Gulf countries. I think it's a question of when, not if, they go after vulnerabilities in American society. It's coming. So these people who are not being paid, who are being asked to essentially, volunteer, often do second jobs when they're not at the airports. It is crazy, the pressure and the situation we're putting them, because they are going to be our best line of defense. And you said also, the DOJ work, the people who have left the FBI, people who have left the CIA, we are making ourselves more vulnerable than we ever should.
And let's be very clear, Willie. The gutting of these protections intentional. From the very beginning, DOJ was very intentional. They were going to gut the institutions that have protected this country and protected Americans for decades. And they said it. We're going to gut it. Steve Bannon said back in 2016, I'm a Leninist. We want to tear this state to the ground. And they're doing it. And this is what's happening while we're going to a war in Iran, while people are waiting 3-4 hours in line, and there are 3 or 4 TSA agents, and Iran is threatening terror attacks against America. And these Americans are not too old or not too dumb to forget what happened on 9/11 and understand that Iran has promised that they are going to strike America. And we are letting down our line of defenses when Republicans have a chance every day to get the TSA agents paid every day. You're so stupid. First of all, it's dangerous. But politically, you're so stupid. You're so stupid to not force this through and pay our TSA agents. I'm here to tell you, prevent a tragedy from happening. Pay these people. Okay? Because guess what? We all can go to the airport and come home. We're fine. We're fine. I was happy to see Mika. We're fine. But the TSA agents aren't fine. The people who actually have to get to Houston or have to get to San Diego or have to get to Minneapolis, For their work?
Or medical care?
Or for medical
Whatever they
care?
need.
Or to take care of a sick grandchild? Or to take care of a sick mother or father? They're not okay because of you. Because you keep voting no on an up or down vote on whether you pay TSA agents or not. And then you try to say, oh, it's very complicated. Democrats are saying, no.
You're in charge.
Yes is the answer, as John Lennon said. And you know that for sure. Can I just finish? Just stop playing your mind games. Good. I love that song. I want to bump out with it. But Republicans, please help yourself and save Americans. It's that simple. They say yes. And guess what? The TSA agents get paid. These lines go away. And our security against Iranian terror threats, poof.
And that legislation
dissipate.
Was there as recently as a couple of days ago that John Thune was supportive of, brought it to the president and said, we've got a deal where we're going to fund DHS without ICE. We're going to put that to the side. We'll talk about that later, or we Republicans might be able to get that through with reconciliation anyway. There was a clear path forward, and Donald Trump said, no, you can't do it. So now here we are again, another day with these long lines. And Richard's right. I mean, I've heard more and more people talk about the vulnerabilities of our airports right now. I mean, if you're someone who has ill intentions, you're looking at that situation going, ooh, there's a soft
That's our
target.
weak spot, a soft target.
And so now you've got ICE agents in the airports. Some of them now are being asked to scan people's IDs and get people
By the way,
through.
I saw the ICE agents yesterday. They're totally fine.
Yeah.
Totally fine. And nobody yell at me.
A live
I'm
shot
just
from
reporting.
Houston.
I'm just reporting, everybody. Don't get crazy and pissed off when I say it. ICE agents were fine. They were helpful. That was just no masks. And you know, nobody minded them being there.
Yes, but they're not expediting the lines.
Right.
They're there to provide security, which is fine.
We actually need the TSA agents who do their jobs.
Exactly. And there is money. Remember, money was poured into DHS so Kristi Noem could have horse riding commercials in front of Mount Rushmore and fund ICE and hire all these new agents.
And give $200 million to the spouse of one of her closest aides.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the money is there. It's just not going to the right place.
In most countries where you have a security threat, you would never allow people into an airport without having some kind of a security barrier beforehand. In the United States, normally it's fine because you don't have thousands of people crammed into the entrance hall of the airport where there is the potential for somebody to go and cause damage. You'd stop it. You'd screen before people went into the airport. We're not figured that way, thank God, because we don't feel we need that level of security. But in this kind of situation, I was flying back from Florida yesterday. I looked at those queues and I thought, I don't actually want to be in a queue like that. It just doesn't look particularly safe.
Yeah, I mean, everybody, a lot of people tell their families, stay away in times of threats from huge crowds. Well, you can't do that, John, at the airport. And I just want to know what the White House is thinking. I want to know what the Republicans are thinking. I want to know, and I mean this with all love in my heart, how they could be so stupid.
As the terrorist threat level rises.
This is politically stupid, and it is a security threat to every American.
I think more and more Republicans realize this is bad, but this is another example of the president simply being detached from what's actually going on. We have chronicled for a year and a half now that even more than most presidents, this one lives in a bubble. He only hears good news. No aide ever gives him, something that's going to be upsetting. We'll get into it later. The story from NBC about how he's basically given a highlight reel of war videos. He just sees explosions, and there's some questions as to how much he's really comprehending what is going on in that conflict. And this is another moment where he's bought into this idea that ICE, though he recognizes some of the mass deportations have gone poorly politically, he still believes in ICE. He's still, every day, Truth Social 3 or 4 times yesterday, supporting them, supporting their efforts, and trying to blame Democrats for what we're seeing here. But all polls suggest it's not working, and his party is going to pay the price this November. Now, how much does Trump care, really, about the midterms?
I don't think he cares.
That's the open question.
I think he's getting past the point of caring, but again, it's crazy going back to where we began, really. The America First Award. You want to run Venezuela, but you can't run LaGuardia? You want to change governments in Iran, but you can't even make Houston's airport work? You want to take over Greenland, and yet you can't even, make Atlanta Hartsfield function? No, this doesn't work for Americans.